Hey everybody. First off, we're going to start by saying Happy New Year. So happy to be back in 2021, and I cannot wait to continue the Real Tea with you all. Welcome to the Real Tea, my weekly segment where I spill the tea on all things real estate. And we thought, what better way to kick off 2021 than with our sponsor? So thank you so much, Ellie, for being on the show today.
Yeah, well, thank you, Abby. Thanks for inviting me. I love what you're doing. The real estate market is really on fire right now.
Right.
So I feel like it's an important topic for our community in general, just the whole entire Youngstown community. And so I'm really proud to be a sponsor and a supporter.
Yeah, and we appreciate your support as well. We really found a need for having something like this on the Business Journal platform. Like you said, the market's hot. And it's a great way to relay some valuable information to people that may or may not know enough about homeowners insurance and everything else that you have to offer at Platt Insurance. And everyone knows I love to kick off the show with some icebreakers. So why don't you give us some quick insight into some of your New Year's resolutions that you have?
Oh, okay. So, gosh, so this is my year, I would say. I think like everybody, health. I mean, that's obviously a big one. So I've been kind of focused on, I would say this year, supplements has been a big one for me. My mom, especially with COVID, has been like vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc. So that's been a New Year's resolution. I think I've kicked that off pretty well. So that's a big one. I would say, I think money is a big one too. I've been really fortunate to have a lot of success in my business. And this year I'm like, I'm going to really, drill down and refine what we're doing. So that's a big resolution for me too this year.
Yeah, great. No, that's awesome. And a lot of mine correspond, obviously not business-wise, but just, being better at management when it comes to money and also health is the forefront. So
yeah, right. Yes. Yeah. So I have a lot of friends that are doing the dry January and cutting out, lots of alcohol and sugar and all those things. So I might get on that too.
Didn't know if I could say it on the show, but I am also participating in dry January. But so for a lot of our audience members that may not be super familiar with, what exactly service you have to offer, why don't you tell us a little bit about Platt Insurance and, what you do and maybe your locations and things like that?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm from this area, born and raised, and I started my business. It is hard to believe this year, 2021 will be 10 years. So I'm really excited and proud of that. So I started my business 10 years ago. And we do offer all types of insurance, so home, auto, business, life insurance. So when I started my business, I started out in northern Trumbull County. So we also specialize in a few areas. Farm insurance is a big one. So we have a whole team of farm specialists that work in our agency. And also I really enjoy working with breweries and wineries. It's sort of a natural extension from farm insurance. And so, I know that you've met with Aspasia Lyris, with Penguin City, and Lisa Resnick, and so I'm really involved with them and Homes and Hops, and a lot of, we are so fortunate, the breweries that we have in this community. So that's a specialty of ours. I also really enjoy working with startups and entrepreneurs and new businesses. So a lot of times it's difficult for new businesses to get insurance. And so that's definitely a passion and interest of mine. But we pretty much do it all. We have 12 agents that work in our office. So I've slowly kind of started with me and one other person, and I've slowly over this last 10 years built my business. And we have 2 locations, one in Howland on Route 46, just north of Howland Corners. Another one in Sebring, if you're familiar. So Mahoning County, so it's kind of going out towards Alliance. So those are our 2 locations, but it's interesting now with COVID. I mean, half of us are working from home, and it's funny how actually before COVID we had 4 offices, and with everyone working from home, it just, it's made sense for us to kind of consolidate.
Right. Yeah. And then, so you have the 2 separate locations, but what areas do you service? All of Ohio, just Mahoning Valley areas?
Yeah, so we're with insurance, you're licensed in different states. So we are licensed in multiple states. So we do business the most in Ohio and Pennsylvania. So we can do both. We have a pretty good online presence, so we do get quite a bit. So really our with insurance now, when I started, the physical location was a lot more important. Where now it's not as much. We do so much virtual, so many, Zoom calls and appointments. And so, but Ohio and Pennsylvania, we also do some business in Florida because we have a lot of clients, from Youngstown that, go snowbirds in Florida, Texas, South Carolina, and then Virginia are our states.
Okay. Yeah, well, good to know. Thank you. And I know that you had prepared a really nice slide deck for us today. We're going to touch on some ways that you can lower your homeowners insurance, and we can dig into that, the nitty gritty of that. So whenever you're ready, if you want to share your slides that you have.
I am happy to. Yeah, and it's a topic that, it's a question that we get all the time. I feel like on a daily basis, our clients are like, why did my premium go up? Or we have new people coming to us asking like, my premium's going up. So how can you lower your homeowner's insurance? And, it's interesting. There are many factors. This is I think a lot of times people don't understand that when it comes to insurance, it's about risk. And so insurance companies are calculating risk. And there are multiple factors that go into that. Depending on the line of insurance, it could be 50 things that go into it. So it's difficult as agents for us to really drill down, and be able to say exactly like, why did your rate go up or why are you paying that much? And so the good, and that's why I want to give some of these tips to kind of so that people can understand, that there's a lot of factors that go into it. So probably the biggest thing is about shopping around and finding an independent agent. And what I mean by that is that I hear this a lot, we'll hear it just in normal conversation with friends, and they'll say, oh, you need to go to so-and-so insurance company because they have the lowest rates. Well, it's not really the case. They have the lowest rates for you based on your risk profile. And so probably my biggest suggestion, is that you look for either shop around and you get quotes from multiple companies, or make it a little bit easier and find an independent agent. So our agency, Platt Insurance, we're an independent agency, which what that means is that we don't exclusively represent one company. Our primary objective is representing our clients. So we will work with our clients and go out to the marketplace and shop for you. So I feel like that's a really good, it's a selling point for our agency, but it's something that I feel like is so much better, for people because, you're able to go and get 5 quotes from 5 different companies and you're just working with one group. So, but I think definitely shopping around in insurance, and I found this, our clients are so loyal, which is awesome. People don't like to switch insurance. You don't want to think about insurance. You don't want to switch it. The downside to that is that we think that loyalty means that we have better rates and we've been, because we've been with this company so long. But really the truth is every few years you should be shopping your insurance and keeping that company on their toes. And so we like to do that. Our agency can do that for you. So I think that's one way to do it is just, check that rate, shop around and see if there's something better out there. Because again, there's so many factors. So that would be the first thing.
Okay.
And then another, and this is a kind of a super kind of hot button item right now, is a lot of people are familiar with if you get an alarm system on your home, it'll give you a discount. It's a really good discount, anywhere, depending on the company, from 10 to 15%. But now with a lot of the smart home and smart devices that are coming out, you can even get deeper discounts with that. So make sure you ask your agent, about smart home discounts. So examples would be smart smoke detectors that can alert you on your phone if something's happened. A big one would be smart water detection devices and also gas detection. So if you're not in your house, and they're actually, some of them are pretty simple. Some are as simple as something you put next to your washer and dryer, and if there's a leak, it's going to notify you on your phone. But some of them are more complex, where they'll actually shut off, the water. It'll shut off your water. prevent anything from happening. So that's a big one. So carriers do that, and they'll offer discounts for that. But then also some carriers actually will provide you with the device. So I think that's pretty cool too. So we have some companies where they'll give you the discount and they'll actually send you like a water detection device that you can put, right in your laundry room or near a dishwasher, under the sink, something like that. So
Ellie, that's a great point to make. Specifically when, I was preparing for the show and everything, a lot of people think, home security, to keep out the robbers and the burglars, but at the same time, having that fire detection and that water detection really helps because it can help minimize the damage of your home because you're alerted sooner rather than later. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's been kind of a new wave with insurance companies, and definitely something that's been good and something to look for too when you're buying a new home. If they have those devices in their home, that's going to lower your insurance on a new purchase. So that's good too. So here's a big one that nobody wants to talk about, but credit score. So I kind of always chuckle inside when somebody complains about how high their insurance is, because inside I'm like, well, credit score is probably one of the biggest drivers of your insurance rates, whether that's home insurance, auto insurance. And so one way to really reduce your insurance prices would be to improve your credit score. And we all know that it affects everything. It affects your mortgage rates. It affects, your ability to, if you take out a loan, the rates are higher. So really working on that credit score. And so we, at our agency, we actually take that really seriously and like to work with our clients on giving them tips and advice on improving credit score. And I know a lot of mortgage brokers do that as well. So it could be as simple, it's just getting your annual credit report, free credit report each year. It could be just simple apps like Credit Karma that you download, just being aware of what's out there. I mean, just simple things could dramatically improve your credit score and in turn your insurance rates.
Great. And I actually had no idea that affected your homeowners insurance.
Yeah, it does. So that's it. Sometimes, like when somebody's a new home buyer or you're just new to the insurance world, sometimes the rates will be higher. Some of it is because someone might be younger, but it is credit score, credit history plays a factor. We call it insurance score, but within that score, a big thing is credit. It's kind of an interesting thing a lot of people don't know. So here's another thing. So we work with a lot of real estate agents. Actually, I love, watching the Realty because a lot of the people that are on are partners of ours, people we really respect in the community. And so there are definitely some things that you can do when buying a new home to reduce your rate. And actually, when you're looking for a new home, there are things just to be on the lookout for. And the biggest one is the age of the roof on a property. I mean, that's definitely something, if you're not asking that when you're buying a home, you want to know, what is the age of the roof? When was it replaced last? Along with the electrical systems, heating, plumbing systems, anything that's really, we wanted them to be at least 10 years or less, in age. And that's when you're going to see like discounts. But if it's a newer roof, 1-2 years, there will be a dramatic difference in the rate based on the age of the roof. So that's a big one to ask. This is something else that a lot of people don't even think about or don't even know to ask is, in insurance, there's something called a clue report, and it has like a property loss history. So we work with our real estate partners on this. So if somebody's purchasing a new property, we actually encourage them to make it part of their the contract, and one of the contingencies that they request a clue report. The property owner is the only one that can request it, is the clue report, but it is going to show a claims history. And why this is important is that there might be a property that has an ongoing issue. So for example, water in the basement. So if there's, multiple water claims over many years, they're going to know like, okay, we better make sure that this has been resolved, or, it'll be a negotiating point for us. And so that's something that we bring to the table when we partner with real estate agents. And but it is, it's a big deal. Water is probably the biggest one, water in the basement, I would say. And we definitely look for that, when we see claims reports. And then the last thing is, like I said earlier, is just shopping around. Like I said, I love our real estate agents, but they, partner with other insurance agents around the community. And I think it's important, I know even if you have a trusted relationship with one person, get a few other people under your belt, just so that you can compare rates, because there can be dramatic differences, depending on who the company is.
Yeah, and everyone's situation is different. And like you said in the beginning, just because your friend's insurance rate is so good at this company might not be good for you. So good to shop around and get your bearings and one thing I did have a question on, other ways that you can lower your homeowner's insurance cost. What about sustainability, having a green home? Does that have any type of, ground as to different ways that you can lower your cost?
I think that's an excellent question. There is a lot of buzz around that topic right now in the insurance world, but as of right now, a lot of the mainstream carriers aren't offering discounts. That's not something that's available out there. It depends. It's possible, if you have a solar heating system or solar panels, that could potentially lower the cost to rebuild the property. But a lot of times we're finding maybe it makes it a little more expensive, so it depends. There's some buzz around it, but really there isn't not a whole lot right now. That's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious because I don't know. Making some incentive, and like a lot of people are going green, and it's great for the environment and everything like that.
So and that's where that's where a lot of things are going in terms of new property and new builds. That's a big thing. One thing that's interesting about our community here in Youngstown is that is that our market values. So let me step back. We typically insure properties based on replacement value. So we actually come up with a calculation on what it would cost. Let's say there was a total loss. There was heaven forbid, a fire, and we had to rebuild this home. What would it cost to rebuild it? And so that amount is based on building materials. It's based on, the new building market and construction market in our community, whereas our market values in the Mahoning Valley are substantially lower than our rebuild costs. And that's kind of unique to this area and other communities, but it is something we struggle with a lot because it's a lot. So sometimes somebody might get their insurance, their rates, and they're going to see, oh, well, I bought my house for $120,000, but it's $250,000 is what you're insuring it for. And it's based on that because we're insuring the cost to replace it. And that's what banks are going to want too. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then going off of what you had talked about previously, different events where people would need to use homeowner insurance to claim on things. I saw something interesting. I wanted to ask you about it. Obviously, there's fire, there's theft, there's water damage, but I saw something about how if someone was injured on your property, homeowners insurance could help cover that cost. I don't know if you could give us any insight into that. I thought it was just interesting, and I've never heard of that before. So
yeah, absolutely. Because it kind of fits there too. So yeah, that's a great question. So within a homeowner's insurance policy, we are insuring the home itself, so the actual structure. But that's what we call it's property coverage, but then the other part is liability, is what we call it. And that actually is very comprehensive. So it includes any type of bodily injury or property damage that you're responsible for, whether it's on your property or even if you're, not off your property. So that's why homeowners insurance is important. So let's say you're sued for, a bodily injury, property damage, your homeowner's insurance policy would kick in and provide that protection. To defend you in the event of a lawsuit. So it could be, and some homeowners policies will even take that a step further and provide something called personal liability. So this is big today with social media, but let's say you're accused of any type of slander, or somebody's unhappy with something you said online and they sue you. Well, your homeowner's insurance liability coverage could kick in. That you would want to look to that, and check with your agent to file a claim. So yeah, the biggest claims that we see. So probably that's the top two on homeowners insurance. One is dog bites. So this is a big one. So a lot of insurance companies will exclude certain types of breeds. So certain dog breeds. So unfortunately, like pit bulls is a big one. Like if you had a pit bull or a mixed breed, typically insurance companies exclude dogs, or won't even insure someone if they have that type of breed. So we do work with insurance companies that insure those breeds, but not everyone does. A lot of the mainstream companies. So dog bites is a big one. And then somebody, so let's say your dog bites somebody and then they're injured, they have medical bills, they sue you, it would cover that. And then the other big one is a water backup. That's not typically insured on a homeowner's policy. So if there's a standard homeowner's policy, so if there's a backup of a sewer or drain in your basement, so if you have a finished basement, you're going to want to make sure that that's on your policy. So those are two big ones that we see quite a bit.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That was actually my next question, like the most common different types of situations that you have people claiming their homeowners insurance. And then another thing too is, I'm sure it probably goes the same way for car insurance, but if you have like minor renovations to make, try not to claim a ton.
Yeah. Yes, right. I think, and so yes, that is an important point, because a lot of times, especially on homeowners insurance, it's not designed for maintenance and to update things in your home. It's designed for large losses, if there's a fire or tornado. And so we are big fans of having higher deductibles. So deductible would be, when you have a claim, it's that portion that you would pay, towards that claim. So, on a homeowner or on an auto policy, maybe if you're in an accident, it might be $500. On a home, usually we don't go any lower than $1,000. But we even encourage people to go higher. So the higher your deductible, it raises your rate. So that's one way to lower your rates, would be to look at that deductible and to shift, we always try and get our clients to shift that mindset that this policy is designed, to protect you in the case of a large loss. It's those things that keep you up at night. I just bought a new house. I have a $200,000 loan. If there was a fire, like, what would I do? And we try and get people to think in that direction.
No, yeah, definitely. And thank you for that insight on that there too.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we did not cover today that you think would be helpful for our audience members that are tuned in?
Yeah, the big thing is to ask your agent for a policy review. I know nobody wants to think about insurance, and I have clients that will go years, 5, 10 years, and not even look at their insurance. Ask your agent for a review. Sit down and find out who your agent is, number one, because a lot of times people don't know that. There are a lot of things, you want to look for gaps in coverage and to make sure certain things are covered. Like I mentioned, water backup. Big things like flood is becoming more and more important. Flood is not covered under our traditional home policies. You have to purchase a policy from the federal government. So really looking at those gaps, and also looking at your contents in your house. There's special limits on things when it comes to jewelry, guns, tools. Those are things you really want to review with your agent. Home improvements, some people might replace their roof or make an improvement, and you could be getting a discount for that, but because you're not talking to your agent. So let your agent know when those improvements are happening. And also there's lots of discounts for memberships. A big one is our Youngstown Warren Regional Chamber of Commerce. We have one carrier in particular that offers a really great discount for chamber members, especially on business insurance. But but also if you do your banking, Huntington Bank's a big one. If you do banking at Huntington, we have carriers that offer great discounts on home insurance if you have these other relationships. So a lot of times, your rate is the way it is because you haven't asked. And so ask your agent, keep them on their toes. That's what they're getting paid for. And if you don't have an agent, we are here for you.
Right. Everyone, new year, new you. Communicate with your agent and, shop around and give Ellie a call, definitely.
Absolutely.
Going back, I'm so thankful to have you as a sponsor of the show, and you have so much insight, and you just, you really are the package. So I urge everyone to follow Ellie's advice, and I just want to say thank you again, and have a great rest of your day, and thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. All right. Happy New Year.
Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell for notifications. And also make sure to connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. For all of your business news, visit businessjournaldaily.com. For all of your arts and entertainment news, go to afterhoursyoungstown.com.